Hey everybody, it's the Trooper. I'm here with Teddy Spaghetti and we are at the canal and we have guys that are fishing. Say hi, fishing man. And what we're going to do is we're going to collect water and we're going to purify it. And the rule of thumb here is if you can fish in it or you can swim in it, you could probably treat it and make it potable. So I'm going to turn the camera around. I'm going to show you what's going on here, show you some of the environmental hazards that you're going to run into and some of the reality of why we need to purify water. What you're looking at is behind all these electrical boxes is we have a wellhead over there. So there's like a little concrete thing and that column goes down into the earth. They haven't operationalized that wellhead yet because down the street, which you can't see behind all those trees, is a water treatment plant. And where does that water get its treatment plant? Water from the surface water. The surface water is coming into a canal, and the canal, I believe, comes out of Horseshoe Dam. So we're in Arizona, so in Maricopa County, we have a water catchment area. All of our lakes are man-made. There's no natural lakes in Arizona except for maybe Crater Lake because an asteroid hit it and created it. But all the other lakes are created through dams and catchments and things like that. So all of our water is managed and all of our fish are managed with a very few exceptions up north, like brown trout, Apache trout, things like that. Fish that are in the northern Colorado River from Arizona's perspective. Other than that, all of our fisheries, all of our lakes, and all of our flowing water and all of our surface water is managed by mankind, right? So if you have societal collapse and there's nobody to manage your surface water, either your house gets flooded or there's nothing for you, right? So if you go down the list of water treatment things that you need to do, the first thing you need to do is you need to identify a water source that is safe for you to approach, access, and retrieve water from. Since we're allowed to fish here, provided we put the fish back into the canal, this would be a place to go. The second thing is, once you identify that source of water that can be made potable, you have to make sure that you have the ability and means to access it. That means you need to have a container and you need to have a method to safely get down to the water. So if you try to reach over that embankment and you fall in, that's not a safe way of doing things. At this area, we have this utility access, which is essentially a ramp that goes down into the canal that the utility uses when they clean out the canal every 10 years or so. So we're going to use that to safely access the water. The third thing is, if you're in doubt whether or not you can use the water, there's two good rules of thumb. Well, three in this case. Is it going into a water treatment plant? So you know that it's at least potable, capable surface water if you go through the proper treatment and filtration methods to get drinkable water out of it. But the two most commonly accepted standards that I have established just now is if you can swim in it or if you see fish in it, you could probably make it potable. And if there is nobody swimming in it and there is no fish in it, it probably cannot be made potable. So in this case, we got a guy fishing over here. I wouldn't swim in this, but here's some of the environmental realities that you need to consider. You can see on both sides here in this vortex, there's a bunch of trash. And you can see on the other side, where the water is calm, there is even more trash. So the city or SRP or whoever manages this this water, and you can, I don't know if you can tell because I don't have a polarized lens, but this kind of murky, mossy water. So you have a lot of organic material, you have a lot of sunlight, you have movement. So you have everything that's to grow. You have oxygen, you have warmth, you have darkness, you have food, and you have moisture. But you also have trash. So we're going to pull our water out of here, but I wanted to show you, this is literally the water that comes out of your tap. This is the water that you drink, and it goes through the treatment processes at a commercial facility before you get it. But this is exactly what it is. My sidekick, Mr. Teddy Spaghetti here, is going to film me, and hopefully I won't fall into the canal. Well, maybe it'll be fun if I do. But then I won't make any more videos because I'll be dead. So, pray I don't fall in the canal. Either way, this is the first part of it. You have to identify your water source. Make sure that you have a container that is capable of getting the water out of the source after you identify that it's safe to retrieve the water and that it's safe for you. Right? So if this was on somebody's private property or you were trespassing or there was wild animals, maybe you would want to find a different water source. So I'm going to go into the Magic Jeep here and we have created our test kit, and we're going to deploy this test kit probably when we get back home, because right now we're just going to collect water. The containers that I brought with me to collect water are just the vinegar bottles that I use for everyday household vinegar, because they're HDPE2 plastic. They haven't had any non-food safe ingredients in them. And then the Everclear containers that I use for cleaning, and I put X's on them because this is for non-potable collection only. So we're going to fill up some of these so you can identify what the water looked like before we filtered it. We're going to collect some of this unfiltered water, and then we're going to treat it, and we're going to fill up another bottle, and we're going to do a comparison. So that's what's going on now. Anyway, we have 4 different containers, which is 4 gallons of water, and we only need 2.5 gallons of water, but we want to accommodate for the settlement process. So if I have a 1/2 inch of dirt or whatever at the bottom of it, I don't want to pour the entire container out into the bucket. So I have headroom, I have a buffer. I only need 10 liters, and I'm collecting 20 liters essentially. And then we have the little bottle over here we're going to use as a comparison of the before and after filtration. So anyway, that's all this is. And the reason why it has A is because I have a B series that we're going to get from a different water source, so we don't mix them up. So that's just to help me keep track of stuff. In the real world, you just need some containers that are safe to put water in, and you don't have to mark them. Just stick to the 10 liter 2.5 gallon plan if you're going to use a coagulant, flocculant that I'm about to use, and you should be good to go. And that also gives you more stirring vortex capability. So now we're going to cut, and we're going to go fill up water. All right. Teddy Spaghetti is accessing the water location, and so we're authorized to be here because I have an Arizona State combo hunt and fish license, and we're not breaching the barrier there that says don't breach this barrier. And again, we're accessing this safely. So what are we looking for here? A place that you can stand safely and collect water, that doesn't have any debris. So that vortex back there where all the trash is swirling around, obviously you wouldn't want to be there. You want to look for signs of life, like a man fishing. If he's fishing, that means there's fish in here, which means that this could be made potable. You want to make sure your stuff doesn't roll away. Timothy, your stuff's going to roll away. So now Timothy's going to die because he lost his container. So he's filling it up, and what he's learning right now is that it's a little bit more difficult to fill up a smallmouth bottle than what you might think. If he came here and there wasn't a ramp, he would be hoping that he had a string to attach to the handle of that so that he could just chuck it in the water. Either way, he's going to fill that up, and he's going to minimize the amount of debris that are in it. So if there was moss or whatever flowing on top, or there's a little bit of particulate I see floating around the corner of it, going to try to avoid it. You don't have to be perfect. Trick of the trade here is if he was in a canal or something that had an earthen bottom, he would be stirring up a lot of mud and dust vortexes in the water. So he would enter the stream upstream, and if he had to step into the water, and then he would collect from the water coming to him and not coming away from him. So you want to do as much as you can to minimize the amount of silt and other particulates and, you know, dead trout and heroin needles and stuff floating around in your water. The other kind of cool thing that we see here is some vegetation that is clearly thriving as it's growing out of a crack in the concrete. So that's always a good sign. So we have vegetation, we have flowing water, we have fish, and we have this is a known surface water avenue to a water treatment plant. So we're going to fill these up. All right, everybody's a trooper. So leaving the canal, we found this amazingly questionable water source. To scale, it's only about 24 inches wide, and this looks like an overflow trough for irrigation, and it looks like it's bleeding off of the main canal through that grate right there. So this is the same canal water, but it's just in a more kind of slower moving offshoot, right? Now, when you look in there, I see like little teeny tiny minnows floating around. I see a lot of vegetation. And then I see a lot of cracks in the concrete where this thing hasn't been maintained ever. And it's also adjacent to a bunch of properties. I also hear some chickens and some other kind of urban agriculture farm type stuff going on. So if you have your choice between 2 flowing waters, you want to go with the one that has the largest amount of volume, that's flowing the fastest, it still has all of the organic matter in it. That tells you that it can be not potable water, but water that is capable of being made potable. So I just wanted to show that on our little learning tour today. I always carry around at least one water cooler with me. These do not have any holes in the bottom or drains, and we have really cheesy kind of caps that go on those designed to be single-use vinegar containers. If one of them tips over, it's going to create a huge mess. So I just wanted to put this tip in the video that if you're going to transport your water in a way where you cannot secure the cap, make sure that you can secure the water when the cap fails, because it will. You want to make sure you don't miss any of our new videos. Click like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Trooper out.